Okay, well, last week we got down to the stripped down carburetor. We're now just going to show you where we go from here. So, this is a set that we've built up for a customer, not complete yet, but well on the way. And these are for a standard right-hand drive. Now normally, on a right-hand drive, you'll have your master cylinders just here. So your carburetors both have to go that away. Therefore, you cut this carburetor. If it's for a left-hand drive, master cylinders this end. So this carburetor goes just here, and this one goes just there. So therefore now you have to cut this carburetor to clear this one when it's over there. So this one, again, is for a right-hand drive car. So we'll put him on there, and we know we've got to cut the carburetor across here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll just pop that on there, spin him round till he locks up, and then out they come. Okay, so we're now good to go for the cut. So let's take it round to the mill and we'll mill through the carburetor. We've set the carburetor up so that the line that was scribed on earlier is parallel. We're now going to touch down and then we're going to chop the carburetor down. So here we go, fire up, and away we go. Take by quite big cuts because it's only thin aluminium. This is the final cut. We're going to go a little bit slower here just to leave a reasonable finish. So nice hand feed, moving slowly across. We'll come right off the end, off of the back side of the cutter, because you'll see it's cutting on the back edge of the tips now. So we've now finished machining. We're just going to lightly blow this off, get rid of some of the chippings, and we're just now, while it's held in the vise, we're just going to get a little tiny Swiss file and we're just going to take the burrs off. So we'll just go So there we go, we've now got him machined off. Okay, back round on the bench now. As you see, we've got the carburetor in front of us. We're now going to put the spindle back in position. So, here we go. This is the throttle spindle. Pop him back in. Into its rough position, so if you get the flat for where the butterfly fits, central about the venturi, that's roughly where it fits. So, this is the side we don't want. That's where we're going to cut it off. Now, what you've got to be sure of here is you've got the throttle spindle in the right way round for the right part that you're chopping off. If you come down just here, you'll see it's got the hole. That hole is where the lever operates the pump. If you put it in the wrong way round, cut the wrong side off, the hole will be in the wrong place. Just put a little bit of protection around it. We're not going to clamp it up very tight. There we go. So we'll just run through there now. There we go. We're just going to take it round to the lathe now just to trim it off to make it look a little bit sweeter. We're now going to put the throttle spindle assembly back in. So here's the throttle spindle. Pop that in first. Don't forget now, put the lever in. So just a pair of pliers just to hold it in place while we get that through. So drop that in there. Spindle in. Through the lever. Once you've got that through, you'll be okay. And then just pop that all the way through to there. We've now got the butterfly in hand. You'll notice it's got 78 degrees. That's the angle at which it sits. So we'll now slide that in gently. Keep going until you can see the two screw holes roughly in place. Then if you bring it back and just seat it in the carburetor, there we go. So that's in place now. So you've got your lever in place, you've got your butterfly in place, everything's where it needs to be now. So we now need the two screws. If you remember, these are the two screws that we actually ground the back off so that we could get them out. So we're now going to have to Loctite these in place. We've put the screws in loosely because you'll notice we still need this end float on the spindle, and you'll see why in a second. Right, I'm going to pop the bearing back in, then the lever, lock washer, and the nut. Now you'll know the reason why we haven't tightened these up. If you tighten those up and the spindle had have been pulled this way, when you lock this nut up, it would seize the spindle assembly up. At the minute, look, it's all nice and free, beautiful. So we'll just pull the tab washer over. So we take one out at a time. And we use a Loctite 603, which is heat resistant, super strength Loctite. Well, I'm not going to tighten it up until I get the other one in and Loctited. Okay, whole assembly now, just nipping those. Just check it now to make sure it all works. Okay, no end float. Now we're going to tighten them up. These want to be tight. So, as tight as you can go. We know we've got the Loctite on, but still as tight as. Last thing you've got to do now is just put the pin back in. Just going to pull the pump assembly up. We're going to put this little nut in here just to hold it out of the way for a second. Okay. Just while we put the pin in, we've now made sure that the spindle hole is in line with the lever hole. We're now just going to tap the little dowel back in place. Rather tricky, this. Just get a punch just to finish it off. So that's home now, so we can now take the nut out, and now you'll see that the lever actually operates the pump. Okay, we're now going to put the pump spring back in. This one goes down inside here, and then it's got to locate on the lever that you've just put back in, just there. So if you turn it over, look at the top of the spring now, down here. You've got to lift the spring up. Once you lift it up, you've got a little plate to put in place, and Sam here, he's got the plate in his hand, and he's going to pop that in once I pull the spring up. So there's the spring coming up, Sam. There's the plate going over, located, spring drops down, and there you have it. Now everything's back in position, so you should have fully operating carburetor. Every part that we take off, we put in a little zip tie bag, so that when we come to put it back together, we've got all the components for each individual assembly. So this one now is the front cover plate. This one just literally drops on there. 2 screws. Pop that one in. Won't tighten him down until we get the other one in. Just nip that one down. You'll notice from looking at it from this section, this is the little piece that bolts on the front. This is the choke adapter, which not many people use, and you'll find you've got 2 choices. You can either cut the corner off it like we do, or you can chop the manifold out. We find it easier just to cut the corner off of this. So that now drops back in place. You just have to lever it over to make sure it's in place. We've got the new spindle in, cut down, chopped half the carburetor off. As you'll see now, there we go. We've got the front plate on. Front plate has been cut off to clear the inlet manifold. And next week what we're going to do is we're going to go through which jets you solder up and which half of the pump jet assembly you blank off. So next week, final instalment.